Good Friday morning, everybody. Chris Allen with your weather podcast for this November 7th. It is a little chillier outside this morning, so you'll need to bundle up the kids as they wait for the school bus. And you'll need that extra layer this morning as temperatures are, in some cases, in the upper 30s to low 40s. Still a little bit of a breeze, but not as windy as it was yesterday when we had some wind gusts of almost 40 miles per hour. In fact, some cases it certainly was. Looking at the day yesterday, 57 was the official high temperature at the Bowling Green Airport. That happened just around noontime. 64 is the average for this time of the year, so that's a 7-degree difference. 44 was the low temperature, 40 the average. That's a 4-degree difference on the surplus side, or on the warmer side, if you will. 1 year ago, we had a high of 71 and a low of 45 back in 2013. Only 1/100th of an inch of rain officially at the airport. So for the month of November, we're at 84 hundredths of an inch of rain. We should be averaging 78 hundredths of an inch of rain. And that puts us at a surplus of 0.06. Today we've got sprawling high pressure, which is in control of our weather. We got rid of that last disturbance, but there's another one coming in. It is going to come through during the day tomorrow, Saturday. But the good news is, as with each run of the forecast and the models indicating this is going to be a fairly weak system with only a few clouds. So if you're going out to Western's homecoming game tomorrow afternoon at LT Smith Stadium, you should be fine, but it's going to be, let's say mid and possibly upper 50s, but as we get into tomorrow evening, temperatures will fall off pretty quickly into the 30s, and that's going to be your major weather impact over the weekend is the colder nights in the 30s or close to freezing. So other than that, the weekend is going to be fairly quiet. It is, of course, what we're going to get into next week that is going to be of significance. The big impact will be that Arctic blast that is going to take over a good chunk of the eastern half of the United States, and it's still on track to make it this far south. So for today, with high pressure in control, we're starting with a few clouds this morning, but those clouds will begin to clear out as we go through the day, becoming mostly sunny, a bit cooler than yesterday with a high of 51 and a north wind at 5. For tonight, partly cloudy, cold. If you're going to the homecoming parade up on the hill, it's going to be a little bit chillier, down to 31. And any Friday night football that's out there as well, you'll need some hot chocolate, coffee, and certainly something to keep you warm. 31, as mentioned, the overnight low. Now, Saturday, we've got a couple of things going on besides Western's homecoming festivities. We also have the Veterans Day Parade, downtown Bowling Green. And that's going to take place at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. And it looks like around that time we should be mostly cloudy to maybe partly cloudy in the mid to upper 40s around that time. But as we go through the day, you're going to see a continual mix of sun and clouds. 57, so a little bit warmer than today. And, of course, as you head out to Western's football game, homecoming game tomorrow afternoon, it is then the temperatures will start to go down. Of course, the earlier sunset, 4:30-ish, or a little bit at 4:43, actually. Of course, it's going to make for the temperatures going down a little sooner than usual. Now, Sunday, we're looking at a mostly sunny day, around 53. In fact, Monday, we're going to warm it up all the way to 64. We'll get a southwesterly flow here, a bit breezy, too, ahead of our big system that will be coming in. 61 for Veterans Day on Tuesday, but there's still a 50% chance of rain. Now, some of that rain could end as a few wet snowflakes on Tuesday evening as the colder air, the first shot of that Arctic air, begins to move in. But most of the precipitation should be gone by the time that coldest air arrives, so it's not going to be a big deal. 61, the high on Tuesday, but the low will be 31 for Tuesday night. Now, Wednesday, Thursday, next week, Friday, a week from today, the middle of next week, end of next week, that's when we're going to feel the cold air. Now, as I've mentioned before, there's a lot of terminology, buzzwords, that are flying all over the interwebs and the major news networks. They love this sort of thing. And, of course, the polar vortex has been thrown around, and extreme cold and monster storm and blah, 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 stuff to make you scared to death as to what's coming. Folks, it's November. Hello. It is November. This is no different than what's happened before. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just telling you from an impact standpoint that it is going to get colder. The closer we get to Thanksgiving, it is going to get colder. But temperatures will be running about 20 to 25 degrees colder than average. So, these 50s and 60s, 64 is where we're supposed to be on average for this time of the year for a high temperature, and we're going to be running 20 degrees below that. So we just want you to adjust and adapt. That's all it's about. Adjust and adapt. And, of course, prepare. And we're not calling for any major snows or anything like that, or ice, or, during that period. It's going to stay fairly dry. It's going to be a dry cold. But it's going to get cold. So that's the only thing. We're just asking you to prepare, adapt, and adjust. It's not much more than that. The extremities that the networks and some people on the social media and websites would have you believe is, this is extreme, this is an anomaly, this is it's not. Come on, it's November. Get with the program. Speaking of programs, we're going to hold an Ohio Valley Chapter National Weather Association meeting this afternoon at the National Corvette Museum Conference Center, 1 p.m. And if you're a weather geek, nerd, enthusiast like I am, and those are terms of endearment, that's not meant to hurt anybody's feelings, but if you're into weather like we are and like I am, you're a weather nerd, you're a weather geek, or you're a weather enthusiast. Or in some cases, like in the National Weather Service, you're an expert. And all of those folks will be at the National Corvette Museum. Hold on a second. You're hearing in the background, you're hearing me talk in the background. That's because my weather video has cooked. It's ready to be posted now. So anyway, pardon the interruption there, but yes, if you're a weather enthusiast, come on out to the National Corvette Museum Conference Center, 1 o'clock this afternoon. I'll be leading and hosting that meeting. National Weather Service folks from the Louisville office will be there. There will be some from the general public, those especially their storm spotters and things like that. Some folks from Western Kentucky University Meteorology Club will be there. And it's just our general meeting. There is, as you know, I went out to Salt Lake City a couple of weeks ago for the national conference for the National Weather Association, of which I hold the broadcast seal of approval. And that was for recertification of my seal, which I hold dearly. And on the Ohio Valley chapter, I am the interim president, and we're about to hold elections, and I'm not necessarily wanting to be president. So we're gonna have a meeting. We're going to talk about a few things, and the Corvette Museum folks very kind to let us hold our meeting there. So if you would like to come out and listen to some of the weather experts, I'm going to be actually doing a short presentation on some of the things that I learned and some of the presentation slides that I saw out in Salt Lake City at the national conference. So, and if you want to become a member of our Ohio Valley chapter of National Weather Association, you will be able to do that this afternoon. So again, it's 1 o'clock, National Corvette Museum, Conference Center. That's by the cafe as you come in the front office there. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the podcast. God bless as always, and thank you so much for listening. Know the weather before it knows you. Have a great weekend. I'll see you live at 5:30 on AM Kentucky and streaming live to the WBKO app and to WBKO.com.